Hello Jedi viewers, Ty Jones here with a recording for you from DCS, and I'm going to actually be recording a tutorial on how to take off in this jet right here. I'm just kidding, bad joke. We're actually in the A-10C, and I must say this has been the most advanced simulator that I have ever played in my entire life. I've been playing Sims for quite a while, all the way back when Falcon 4.0 came out, and then Allied Force, and then all those other patches, and then of course Flight Simulator and all that other good jazz. But Jane's F-15 was pretty much probably one of my favorites. But this one, I must say, has beat that one in all measures. As you can see, every little switch in dial is going to be, well, we'll see, is every dial is going to be switchable, and actually what's the word I'm looking for? It's going to be active. Every switch there's nothing that's just static. Every little switch here you're going to see has its bells and whistles and everything like that, just like the real A-10C in real life. So without further ado, as you can see, everything is off right now, so I'm actually going to have a tutorial here on how to start everything up, because when I first started this I had a lot of troubles. I was doing a lot of research on YouTube videos, and they were pretty lengthy, so I'm going to try to make this video short and simple, within 20 minutes or so. Now mind you that I am no expert at all. I'm not a real A-10 pilot. So if you see me doing something wrong, whatever, please just put it in the comments below, or just message me, and if there's a faster way, if you can do it, just let me know. Maybe we'll just go from there. So without further ado, let's go ahead and start this. Now on the video you can't see where my mouse is actually clicking, so when I tell you, hey, hit this switch, whatever, you're not gonna be able to see exactly which switch I'm pointing to. So to help with that, I'm actually going to try to zoom in best I can, so you can see which switch I'm actually switching. So this panel right here is called your electric power panel, and you see 6 switches there. The bottom right is your battery. I'm going to go ahead and flick that one, and then so the battery's on right now. Now the inverter is going to be, you're going to flick that up, and that's the top middle one. That's going to spread the power to the rest of the aircraft. So when you do that, you can actually hear it turn on, all the systems running and everything like that. So now that that's done, I'm going to go ahead and go over here and turn on my APU, which is the switch just right of the throttle. You can see it says APU start. Turn that on, and then you'll actually hear the APU start. Now it's going to get kind of loud in here, so I'm actually going to close the canopy. This little switch right here, just hold it by right clicking, and your canopy will close. Okay. Now the head tracking system or device that I'm using is Track IR5. Now I was when I was first watching these videos, I noticed the head movements were just like a regular head movement. I was like, how are they doing that at their keyboard? And then that's when I found out that the head tracker movements, and I didn't know that they had those kind of things. But it's not as cool as Oculus Rift, but the sensitivity changes. I highly recommend you go on online, and you can actually download the DCS profile. Because when you first get it, it's really twitchy, and it's insane. You can't really use it. So, but there is a fix. Like I said, just go online and download that DCS profile. They actually have one just for the A-10 too. So now that my APU is on, I'm going to go ahead and turn on my generators, which is this switch right here to the top left. Go ahead and turn that on, and then the bottom 2 switches, turn those on. Now that that's on, so we have power to the whole aircraft. So what we're going to do now is, the thing that takes the longest is getting your nav and your INS online. So these 2 switches right here, I'm going to go ahead and flip on to the right, those 2 little switches. Okay. Now I'm going to let that turn on for a little bit. That takes a couple seconds so you can turn on the INS, your alignment system. I'm going to turn on my MFDs, which is this little knob right here. You can click it twice for day, or right click once, and it'll go to right to day. Right clicking is kind of like reverse clicking, or reverse turning it clockwise, I guess, and then right clicking it will make it counterclockwise or whatever. You get the idea. Anyway, so I turned them on and noticed that then nothing's happening still. That's because these switches down here, the very bottom switches right here, turn those on, and the one on the right is not gonna go all the way on. It's gonna go on test. You want to keep that on there because you have to go through your bit tests. If you look on your hood, and notice my MFDs are on now. If you look on your hood, see engage pre-flight bit test, yes. Go ahead and hit enter on your UFC, which is that button right there, the enter. Hit that, and then it'll run your bit test. So while it's running the test, it's going to be like low altitude, you know, danger, danger, or whatever. That's just it running its normal test, so you don't have to worry about that. Alright, now that this thing is actually on, alright, you see INS on the bottom right. Go ahead and click that, and then right to the top left you'll see INS, and then you'll see the little arrow. This is a line. Click that.
Pull up, pull up.
That's the, like I said, it was going to say, that's
altitude,
just running its
altitude.
test. Alright, so if you look over here, it'll say INS nav ready. It's actually not true. It's actually not ready until you see that blinking. So when you see INS nav ready blinking, then it actually is ready. So it's still running through its test cycles and everything like that. So DTS upload, all your flight plans and your missile and your weapon profile, what's on your wings and all that stuff is on this little card that the pilots take with them, and they plug it into the aircraft, just like an old video game. You put it in your game, and it, you know, turns on and everything like that. So you put it in, which is in real life, which is, I believe, which is that thing right there. They put it in there, and then you have to load it. You have to load the whole thing. Now you can load everything individually, and that's on the left screen. Load TAD, load the Dismiss, TGP, whatever. But we want to load everything at once. So just hit the bottom right push button, which is that guy right there, and it'll load all. Notice all the asterisks disappeared on the left of all the load TAD, load Dismiss, and everything like that. When those dots come, when those asterisks come back, that means everything is loaded successfully. So while that's loading, the bit test is finally complete. So exit. You can go ahead and hit the enter on the top center of the UFC. Okay, and then over here, the select, which is to the right of the UFC, hit down, and you can just hit exit. Of course, you can go into way more in depth with this, but like I said, I'm going to try to make this video as short as possible. So, as you can see, all the asterisks are back. So I'm actually going to go into the TAD page, which is the bottom left push button, and that'll bring up my TAD. Over here, I'm going to go to the CDU, so it'll tell me, as you can see, the INS nav ready is still not blinking. This, if you notice, is the same exact screen as that right there, so it's a little convenient, so I don't have to keep looking down. Alright, so now that I'm on the main menu in the HUD, I want to actually see my altimeter and airspeed and all that stuff, all that good jazz. So remember down here it was back in the test menu. Now you actually want to turn this on by just left clicking again, and now you'll be able to see your HUD and everything. So that's how to turn that on. Okay, now our INS is blinking, as you can see on the top right. I'm sorry, on the top left, right there. I hate that you guys can't see where I'm pointing at on my mouse. But anyway, on the right, you'll see ground, in-flight, nav, INS. You want to hit nav. Okay, and down here, you want to go ahead and these two little rotary knobs down here, the one to the right, well, if you're sitting in the seat, your reference would be the right. You want to turn that to steer, and the one to the left, you want to turn that to flight plan. So you want that one facing you, and the one on the right facing straight forward, just to make it simple and everything. Like this is just for the basic, you know, the basic setup, just so you can get your aircraft off the ground. One thing I did forget right here is I forgot to give my pilot some oxygen. So this switch on the far right here, you definitely want to make sure that's on. So turn that switch on, and this little flow will blink black and white. That just signifies that your pilot is actually breathing. That's all that is. Since we're looking over here at this panel, we definitely want to make sure all our lights are on and everything like that. So the dials are for the brightness and the switches are for the actual lights themselves. So we can actually turn on all these switches. And notice the anti-collision switch doesn't want to stay on. You click it and it just goes right back off. That's because that there's this little pinky switch on the HOTAS throttle that you have to press before this actually can switch on. Why, I don't know, but I just pressed it and now it'll stay on, as you can see. So that'll fix that. So I'm definitely gonna let me put on my instrument lights. I mean, these are all your instrument lights and your planes outside the aircraft and everything like that too. So you notice it lights up everything. Okay, and the bottom two little panels right there is for your TACAN and your ILS and everything like that, but we won't really go into that since for the sake of this video, like I said, I'm going to try to keep it as short as possible. There's a lot of things I have skipped, like the warnings and testing the testing the fuel quantities and all that stuff. But like I said, for the sake of the video, I'm not going to go through every little thing. I just want to get you guys up and running and off the ground. All right, now that our INS system is aligned, right in front of the throttle, I'm sorry, right in front of the stick. Let me move my head over so you can see. Sorry about the choppiness. I don't know why it's so choppy. It's not normally this choppy when I'm normally flying. I think it's just because I'm recording, because I do not know why it's so choppy like this. It's just crazy. Anyway, you definitely want to hit your IGI switch up like that. Otherwise, your EAC switch will not come on, and I'll show you what that is here in a second. You definitely want to turn your alternate ADI on, which is this. Crap. Let me zoom in here. This little switch right there. As you can see, your aircraft is above the horizon. You just want to roll your mouse down so it's level, and then you'll be good to go there. Okay. Alright. Now that we've got that done, let's go ahead and turn on our SAS switches, because without our SAS switches we won't be able to turn on the EAC. Let me go ahead and those are our yaw and our pitch SASs, and this is pretty much what our autopilot uses in order to navigate the aircraft and our weapon systems and all that as well. So these 4 switches, make sure those are turned on. And get up out of there. Okay, and our seat, you definitely want to arm our seat by just hitting that little seat little switch right there. That'll turn that on. Okay. Alright, so the only thing left we're going to do now is turn on our EAC and everything, and we can definitely start up our engines. We got mainly everything on electronically that we need to turn on as far as avionic wise. So besides our countermeasures, which we'll go back to shortly. So let's go ahead and turn on our engines. Right here we definitely want to turn on our boost pumps to help the fuel flow into the engines as needed. So the bottom 2 is for the main fuselage, and for our wings we definitely want to turn those on to those 4 switches right there. That's all you need right now. Everything else is good to go. Now in real life, all you had to do is move the throttle up one at a time. You definitely want to do engine 1, which is your left engine, and then engine 2, which is your right engine. But for the sake of the game, you actually have to press right alt home, and that'll start engine 1. Once you hit that, just monitor your gauges, and for the sake of game, I mean, everything it's the same. I mean, they say you got to monitor this and monitor that, and the RPM should stabilize at 60. If it doesn't, you're gonna have problems. I mean, you're not gonna really have that many issues in the game. Now, real life, yes, I guess, but just for the sake of this of the tutorial, the temp should stabilize at I forgot what that stabilizes at. Not too sure. The middle gauge, your RPM is going to stop at 60, and then your PSI should also be around 60 as well. This warning switch is pretty much the APU generator. It's yelling at me because the APU is still on, but that's okay. Okay, so engine temperature is stable at 5500. RPM is at 60, and the PSI is at 60, and that's all good and dandy. The fan speed is always going to stop at 25.2, which is on the right with your 2 fans up there. Okay, now that that's good to go, you can go ahead and start the engine number 2, the right engine, by hitting right control home, and the same cycle is gonna happen. And you can actually see it start to turn on and stuff. Okay. Make sure this is on. I definitely got to work on this head tracker. This is it's really sensitive. Like I said, I think it's just for the sake that I'm recording. It's not usually acting like this. Alright, so everything is stable, everything looks good. APU EGT is now going back to 400. But now that we've got both engines running and stable, we actually don't need the APU anymore. So what we can do is you definitely want to make sure on your electrical panel your AC generator power is on, but you want to turn off your APU power, which is on the top left with the one I just switched. And then you go back over here. Remember that that switch that we hit and to turn on the APU in the very beginning. Go ahead and turn that off. So that will be off. Now what you want to do is on those switches I was saying that was underneath the throttle, we couldn't move it before, but now we can since the engines are on. So you want to go ahead and hit your toe brakes. If you don't have rudders, I don't know what the key is for brakes. I think it's B or W or something like that. I'm not sure, but make sure you hit your brakes. And then move the throttle up just a little bit so you can actually see these switches right here. Definitely want to make sure both these are turned on, and then you can turn them off. Not turn them off. Put the throttle back down. Right here, right next to it is your throttle, your autopilot switch. Right next to the throttle. When I take off, I like to have this on path. So when I have my nose up 10 degrees, I can actually hit autopilot, and it just stays at 10 degrees instead of leveling out or whatever. So path actually just keeps the aircraft exactly in the same path that you're currently on. Alright, now I'm going to actually, let me see if I did this already. I sure didn't. Usually when you turn on the power, this is actually my fault. Like I said, it's my first tutorial, so hey, don't get too mad at me. These switches right here, your frequency dial, you want to make sure those are on TR for transmit. The one back here, have this one on main, and then I'll turn that on, and then finally back here also have this on transmit, and you can also have your UHF radio or your FM radio. You can switch that on too. Okay. Alright, so now that we got that up and running, we got our APU generator off, we got everything good to go. My pilot has air. The last thing I want to do is I want to turn on my anti-skid on for takeoff, so make sure you turn that on. Landing lights are on. It's supposed to be taxi, but like I said, for the sake of the game, it doesn't really matter. I mean, in real life, yeah, but you know. I forgot what I was looking down here for. So looking down here for something. Oh, the takeoff trim. You want to make sure you press that. So it's a good air takeoff trim, which is that one right there, TO trim. Okay. If you want to make sure my wings are working, everything is good to go. Now speed brakes, I had to actually, it's actually a HOTAS button. So when you're trying to find the button to configure to your keyboard, if you don't have a a throttle or joystick or anything like that, you just look in the H's of the HOTAS. It says HOTAS speed brake button or whatever, and that's what I got programmed to my configuration on my keyboard or on my joystick, because I couldn't, like I said, I couldn't find it on the regular. I thought it was like S or something for speed brake, go figure. But anyway, that is pretty much it. So it is on and good to go. You are ready to go. The only thing I'm going to do lastly is put on my countermeasures, which is these switches right here. Turn all these guys on. I'm going to turn it to manual. Now default, the flares are not on. You have 120 flares and 240 chaffs, but when you actually go to the menu, you flick this on to display. No chaffs are no flares are selected. So if you want to have flares when you're dispensing, which is, I believe it's 7 on the keyboard, you hit this little button right underneath flare, and notice it starts blinking. And then the little rocker switch to the right, you want to click that. And that's how you actually configure the intervals. And let me see, let me put this down to 2 intervals. And then the return button right next to it, that's actually like the save button. You hit that, and you're good to go there. Okay, and lastly, you want to check and make sure your warning panel, there's nothing on in your warning panel. You'll be good to go. You want to turn on your nose steering, which is the INS, your insert key on your keyboard, and you are good to go. All switches are on, all avionics are running. Like I said, this is my my first tutorial. Like I said, I am no expert at all, so if you have any advice or have any way to do this a little bit faster, please, let me know. I know when I am taking off on the runway, I do highly recommend you turn the nose wheel steering off. I've learned that really quickly, unless you're just really good at the rudders. I definitely like to align myself on the runway using my using the nose steering. But once I'm actually down the runway, it is so hard to keep it straight. I'm like constantly going all over the place. But I turn my nose steering wheel off, and it guides me a lot easier down the runway as I'm taxiing or going down the runway for takeoff. But anyway, I would like to thank you guys for watching, and this is pretty much the end of the tutorial. I'm about to go ahead and take off. I highly recommend you to go through all the training videos on DCS. They help you a lot. Then afterwards, it's definitely, you'll have a lot more fun online. I highly recommend you download TeamSpeak. It is free. That way you're not having to text or message while you're flying or in the middle of trying to land or something, trying to talk to your wingman or whatnot. So that's pretty much it. So thank you. This is Ty Jones, and signing off here. Thanks again for watching. Any more comments, put them below.